Good morning, and thanks for joining me today on Cedar Creek Homestead. Uh, we've been tagged by Micro Homesteaders, and if you haven't checked their channel out, go over and check them out. And I really like their videos. He's got one of a flashlight that he's showing, and some of her food she's cooking, and I tell you, it is really it makes me hungry every time I watch one of their videos. They are really neat to watch, so go over and check them out and subscribe to their channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, why, if you would, we'd certainly appreciate it. But some of their questions is, the number one thing is, why do we garden? And the reason I garden is I love to garden. I do it as a hobby. I like to hunt and fish. I don't do so much of that anymore because I spend a lot more time in the summer in my garden in the mornings. But I love getting up early and going out to the garden. It's just something about it just blesses me. Number two is, why do you YouTube? I got to watching YouTube videos. My wife had showed me some of the videos, and I got to liking this, and I thought that it would be something I'd enjoy doing. So I got to watching Danny and Wanda over on Deep South Homestead first off, and then Doug and Stacy, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and I got to really liking those channels, and I got to thinking, hey, I want to be part of that community, and that's why I signed up, and I thought maybe I could share some things that would help others, because some of the things they have done have certainly helped me. Some of the things I'm already doing, and I already, I'm not saying I know it all, but then I got, but you can always learn, and I have found little tricks, and others, many on YouTube videos that I've watched that I've really enjoyed. It says, how long have we been gardening? I've gardened my entire life. I'm 49-year-old, and as soon as I was old enough to be in the garden, my dad had me in the garden, and he had an old front tine tiller that he would pull a little wagon in behind, and would pull me in the garden when I was little, and I just took a liking to being in the garden. And as soon as I was old enough, he had me starting to plant onions, and then planting potatoes, and I'd follow my dad everywhere. I was kind of like his little shadow. And then as I got older, I just continued on with gardening. And anytime, I haven't always been able to grow a garden every year, because there's been times, one year I lived in an apartment complex, and there's been places, I lived one place where they didn't want me growing a garden. But most of the years I have grown a garden in my adult years for sure. And I also, another reason we like to garden, to get back to that one, is I like to eat the stuff. I think it's way better than you can get in the store. The next thing is, what do we grow? And in our garden we grow a little bit of everything. I don't grow a lot of corn, because we can get corn here locally. We have a farmer that grows sweet corn, and it is delicious sweet corn, and so much easier to let him. I've grown corn before and had the storm come up and blow the corn over. I've had the coons get into it. The squirrels, a year or two ago, we had a row of corn, and the squirrels got in, and they just devoured it. We'd be sitting on the porch, and we'd see the squirrels in the corn, and I'd go out there and shoot at them, and we had a mess trying to grow corn. So we don't grow that, but I love eating it. I can grow it if I had to. I've thought about growing a big field of it, or maybe grow a big field of corn even for our animals. But in the garden part, we grow tomatoes, okra, beans. I love home canned green beans. It says, what is your favorite vegetable? And my favorite is probably tomatoes. Of all the things in the garden, tomatoes are number one. But I love the squash, the green beans, cucumbers. Those are probably my top ones. I love the black-eyed peas. And in the wintertime, my wife will cook up some of them, and she likes to can green tomato relish and chow chow and stuff like that, and we'll eat that along with our beans. We like to grow horticulture beans. They're kind of like a pinto, and I really enjoy eating those too. It just ain't really anything in the garden except for beets. I do not like beets. I love turnips, and I like turnip greens and the actual turnip, but I don't like the beets. But I grow them because my wife likes them, and they're supposed to be real healthy for you, and I guess that's why I don't like beets. But thank you, Micro Homesteading, for calling us out here and asking us this. I was watching Flutie Lick the other day, and they had got called out like this, and there's these questions, and I thought that's kind of neat. But we only have like 11 subscribers, so I thought the chance of us ever being called out is probably nothing. And then I believe it was the next day here we were called out, so that's an honor, and I appreciate that very much. And I'd like to get up this year to at least 100 subscribers, so we're on number 11. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, well, we'd certainly appreciate you subscribing. And if you have a comment on one of our videos, we'll comment, and we would appreciate that. And I sure thank you for listening in today, and I hope you'll have a wonderful and blessed day. May God richly bless you.